All right, what's going on, beautiful people? It is your Felon to Phenomenal coach, your re-entry specialist, Coach T. I'm back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I took a little hiatus. You have to take time out to do the things you need to do personally so that you can help those around you and just uplift yourself and your family. So I have a special guest in the building, and I'm glad to have her. She reached out to me and about this game and sharing your message. It's about collaborations. So I'm blessed to have the opportunity to have this dialogue and conversation with this lady. And I'm just going to bring her on and we're going to go from there. So y'all be nice to my guest, okay? Hey, what's going on, Miss Brittany Jackson? How are you?
What's up? What's popping? I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. I just had my cup of coffee here, so let's get into it.
Awesome, awesome. So just a quick introduction for the people on social media. Your name is your favorite PO. Now, who tagged that? Because I know for people on my side of the field, I don't know about favorite PO nothing.
You know what? I came up with that because when I started putting out content related to probation, I wanted to change the narrative of how people see probation officers. There are some, some not so nice ones, and there are some good ones. So I wanted to be that one, say, hey, we're not all bad. I'm your favorite. Okay. Come over here. You can feel comfortable. This is a safe space so we can talk about the things you want to talk about.
I hear that. I love that, man. It's glad to have somebody like you on the other side. Before we get deep off in this thing, man, I just want to commend you and congratulate you, two-time breast cancer survivor.
Hey, yes, ma'am.
Hey, man, big blessings, man. You have a lot of energy, and I love your style, your social media presence, and everything like that. So, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you so
Big,
much.
big. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So now, how did we make the transition from probation officer to consultant?
Hey, yes, let's talk about it. Let's get straight into it. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
So I was an adult probation officer for almost 5 years. Okay. And while I was doing that job, I was creating content, sharing with people online on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, your favorite PO, days in the life of a probation officer, things to do on probation, things not to do on probation. But this whole time, my job, they didn't know that I was recording and they didn't know that I was posting this type of content. So I documented this all on my channel, by the way, as well. But when they found out, they kind of were taken aback. They didn't want me to do it. They wanted me to take the videos down, mainly because I was recording in the office without their permission. So they were like, "Oh, you need to take these videos down." And I didn't want to take them down. I felt like they added a lot of value, and I felt like I was being stifled in my, I guess, endeavors of what I wanted to do, what I saw for myself. So I decided not to take the videos down, and I ended up just leaving. I quit the job, and I started working with people one on one. There's so many people who need help. There's so many people who are afraid of their POs, and they can't say certain things to their PO that they may feel more open and comfortable saying to me. So that's how it happened. That's how I became a consultant.
Okay, so look, with your consulting business, I thought it was more for the probation officers and less than the client. So you doing both,
Both,
or
both, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because I need to make it a clearer message as to what services I do offer. But yeah, it's for both probationers and aspiring probation officers.
so what gap are you trying to fill when you service the probation officers and when you service the clients?
Well, for the probation officers that, well, aspiring probation officers that reach out to me, they want to know how to get in the field, what's the best way, how to do your resume, mock interviews. These are people who have no experience at all in criminal justice. And so they come to me as like a liaison to kind of get them in there. I have a lot of contacts with different probation officers across the country because, I do the podcast. It's called Two Hats Podcast. And so I
Give me
get a lot of I get a lot of inside, so to speak, information to help people get on. There's so many people who want to be in the field and they just need a little bit of direction, and that's where I come in for them.
Got you. That sounds good, man. So I perused your YouTube channel. You
And
got a lot of great information on there. One of the videos that stood out to me is you did one that like highlighted the misconceptions of a probation officer, And what I heard a lot in there is like the lack of accountability from the client. So can you like be clear on what is the role of a probation officer?
Oh yeah. Well, we're really supervising a case. Okay. So we're gonna make sure that everything that the court has ordered you to do, we first and foremost we have to make sure that is done. And then we address any issues or anything that the client may have, any risks that may cause them to reoffend. We're going to dive into that. So, say you come into the office, there's substance abuse issues, or there's trouble at home, or you're homeless, or something like that. We're going to address all of that. That's going to be top priority. And then we make sure that all the court order conditions are met, and we refer you. That's a big thing. We refer you to get the community service done. We refer you to get your classes done. A lot of people come in, they don't know where to go, what to do. So that's really what the PO does.
Got you. Now that sounds good. Now you highlighted the referral for whatever requirements we have with the paperwork, but you kind of also mentioned the homeless thing too, and I haven't really seen too many people help in those resource areas as far as employment or housing or food even. So you do that personally, or this is like the service through
Through the office. This
okay.
is the thing, depending on where you live, where you on probation at, or where you work, different services, you have different services in different places. Where I worked, the services were limited. So that was one thing that I really hated about the job. It's like you see so many people who need help, but then there's limited resources for you to refer these people. So we had a couple places, we refer people to. As far as the homelessness, we refer them to shelters. There were a couple of programs out there that we could refer them to. But as a PO, you can only do so much. You know what I mean? It's not only just on us; it's on you as well. I know you're homeless, you need help, but we could try. You know what I'm saying? We can't always make it perfect and make it happen, but we definitely try.
Got you. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with all the issues that go on in like the process of criminal justice system, but we know like the workloads of public defenders are heavy and things like that. Are supervisors, community supervisors affected by, excessive workloads?
Definitely, definitely. I think COVID has kind of slowed that down for a lot of departments. But yeah, there's sometimes caseloads are excessive. When I was doing it, the most I would supervise at once was about 150 cases. And that's 150 individuals that you have to see every month. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's not always easy. So yeah, they are bogged down sometimes with heavy workload.
got you. No, it's not easy. So we're dealing with all those different type of people. You seem to be a very impersonal. I mean, personal person. Does being able to manage relationships help you? Have I guess a successful, happy work day. I don't know.
Yeah, you have to be a people person if you want to be a probation officer because you're talking to people all day, every day. That is your job. You know what I mean? So before I started this job, I didn't have any prior criminal justice experience. I worked in the health field. So, but I always knew I wanted to work with people. And when I started the job, I just fell in love with the whole situation. Like going to court, dealing with lawyers, dealing with judges, dealing with the probationers. It's like, I don't know, that's my thing. It's my jam.
I got you. I got you. That's cool. Now, as far as what you've experienced or had to offer as far as additional services or programs through, the supervision, was there any outside resources? I mean, I know I'm in Harris County, so a lot of the resources that they have is always inside. It's never like calling, I don't know, Eric Thomas or something to come out and motivate somebody. They're always trying to do something within, the program with people who lack that experience from our side. So is that something that you think is common amongst different supervision programs?
Yeah, I would say that it is. A lot of people who teach those classes and a lot of people who administer the substance abuse evaluations, they haven't been on the other side of the desk. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I feel like it would be beneficial if they had people who had prior experience being in the system. You know what I'm saying? To administer those programs. But yeah, I found that it's kind of the same. It's always done within like in house.
Great. I appreciate you for saying that. That was kind of like a plug for me, so people can let me in.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So like, what are your thoughts on like re-entry? The obstacles. I mean, I know you've seen people struggle, and I know you've seen people triumph. So what kind of views have you developed about re-entry and things that you have to share, tips for anybody?
Tips? I don't know. Let me think. I wasn't ready for that one because
Well,
I feel like it's a mindset.
about re-entry.
Everybody's different. Some people are gonna come in there and they want help. They want to change. Some people come in there, they already got all their stuff together. You might come in there. I've had attorneys on my caseload. Of course, we supervise everybody. People who don't have jobs, people who have PhDs. Everybody in between. So I feel like it just depends on the person, but I say always go in with an open mind and talk to the PO. You know what I'm saying? Ask them for help. A lot of people, I think they have some pride. I don't know what it is, but they don't want to ask for help even though they know they need it. Even I'm that way. I can say I don't like asking nobody for help either. But I would say go in with an open mind, ask for help when you need it, and don't be shy to say, "Oh, I'm struggling." You know what I mean? I'm struggling. I need some help.
Nah, that's good. That's good. Now, you definitely, I keep reiterating this. You seem to be one of the good ones as far as what I followed and then support and everything. Are you aware of people that you might have worked with that have biases that seem to make it hard for clients?
Ooh, like coworkers.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what?
I mean,
I'll keep it real with you. There,
let's
there
do it.
is that. I've seen that. I've witnessed that. I really have. Um, but I don't want to get too much into that.
You know, nothing wrong. I would just kind of more so to support the fact that that experience is real
It's
for
real.
some people, aside from the accountability that we need to have on our side as far as executing our requirements and getting out of there and moving on with our lives. So that was it. I didn't have to expose nobody or nothing like that.
Yeah, I ain't trying to step on no toes. I ain't trying to make nobody mad.
Got you. So, are you familiar with a lot of like the name changes they got going on? Because I know in conversation we're talking probation officer, community supervisor, offender, client. Are you aware of those like little? I don't even know what you would call those changes that they're trying to have to kind of change the stigma from it. You've heard of those things?
Absolutely. Even when I was working, we called our people or our defendants, we call them clients. I mean, it does make a difference. The language that you use, the verbiage that you use, it makes a difference. They were even talking about changing that verbiage in the actual court documents because in those court documents it says defendant or offender. So yeah, they are making the change towards that, and I am for it. I feel like it's helpful.
Oh yeah, I think it's extremely helpful in relation to society, as far as people being more willing to allow somebody to re-enter society and become a productive member, kind of removing the stigma. Because if you're calling somebody a criminal offender, you expect that activity or energy from them right now, and that's our past, and nobody wants to keep living in their past.
Exactly. Give somebody a chance to evolve and move forward. Jeez.
Exactly. So when you are a probation officer, do you do parole too, or is that a whole separate entity?
Separate. Yeah, that's separate. In Texas is separate. Some states they have it together.
Well, that's funny that they separated, because when someone is on probation versus spending time in jail or prison, that's not separated. I mean, as far as identification on the background check, I mean they don't know the difference. That's pretty interesting. That was just a
Mhm.
side note.
That's true. I mean, some states do it together. I guess it makes sense for it to be together, but I don't know. They do it separate in Texas.
Got you. Well, you had a video and you talked about some of the things that you least like about the job. You want to care to share and reiterate what you least like about the job? Because I mean, I know it can't be, all hearts, ponies, and rainbows.
Absolutely not. Nothing is perfect in life, right?
Right.
Like we touched on earlier, the lack of resources makes it harder for the POs to do their jobs. Because it's like this person, you start to get attached. I don't want to say like really attached, like this is my friend, But you start to like you see these people a lot. You talk to them a lot. So you develop a relationship, you develop a rapport. So you really want to help them. And then when there's no resources for you to actually do that, it's kind of like heartbreaking. At least it was for me. I'm like an empath. I just feel everybody's feelings. So
Yeah.
that was probably my number one thing that I didn't like. And then the paperwork. There's so much paperwork that goes into it. I felt like I was a paralegal. Like it was a lot of paperwork. And then you can't mess it up. If you mess up some paperwork, you could potentially mess up somebody's life. Like it's that serious. You have people who check it, but it's like it's on you initially. You got to get it right. Like if you
Yeah.
put 7 years instead of 4 years, that's a problem.
Wow. So, are there grants available for programs? Did they allow probation officers to create programs?
To tell you the truth, probation officers don't really have time to do anything aside from
Mm,
from handle that case file and make sure you're getting this stuff done in a timely manner so you can get off probation. When you're supposed to.
yeah.
Unfortunately, there's just no time. I feel like the higher up people, they come up with that because they have the time and that's what they're there for to come up with different things. But they do ask for our input if we have some suggestions, at least in the department that I worked in.
Mhm.
When we would have meetings and stuff like that, your input was allowed, but it's like you're so bogged down with what you have to do.
Got you. No, I completely understand that. Yeah, with 150 people trying to keep up with them on a monthly, and I know sometimes they have to meet twice a month and things like that. That can be crazy. Home visits, all of that.
Exactly. See, you see, it's a lot.
Well, and I wanted to bring that to attention because I keep going back to that accountability piece because I want the people that I serve to take more responsibility for their own life and stop putting so much pressure on someone that's just doing their job. So I was glad to have this conversation. So, what classes have you seen most beneficial with your former clients?
I would say the Thinking for a Change class. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
No, it's like a 12-week course, and they go like once a week and for 2 hours a day, 2 or 3 hours a day. I can't remember exactly. But I feel like it's helpful because it's not like just one of those 1 day 8 hour classes where somebody just going in there just to sit down and get it over with.
Right.
Because change does not happen that fast. So with the Think for Change class being 12 weeks, no, 13 weeks, it gives you time to change your mindset week by week. Slowly you're learning new things, and it takes what? How long does it take to make a habit, change a habit, break a
Yeah,
habit?
30 days. 30
Yeah.
days.
So I feel like that one was the most beneficial.
Gotcha. So, what kind of like resources do you use on a daily basis to, help your personal professional growth as you service people? As far as your consulting.
I don't know what happened to the audio. It sounded like a robot. Do I sound like a robot?
Um, nah, not really. It went out a little bit. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you for sure, but it sounds like a robot voice now. I don't know what happened
Uh oh.
because I don't know if it's going to pick that up on the recording or not, but that's what it sounds like to me. Your voice changed. I don't know what happened.
Really? Does it still sound like that? Uh
Yeah.
oh. You sound pretty clear.
Well, yeah, you were sounding perfectly clear, and then now you're not.
I'm not sure what happened.
I mean, we keep going. I just don't
Okay,
know.
yeah. Nah, definitely. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep
Okay.
going. So I was asking just about your own personal and professional development. What kind of work do you do to stay empowered as you feed people and help people when you consult?
I think you said, what kind of stuff do I do to keep abreast of, like, keep my knowledge up to help people?
Well, not so much of your knowledge, but just like your own personal and professional development. Because you're pouring out into people. So how do you stay empowered to keep doing the work that you do?
It's kind of hard to understand.
Uh oh.
I thought we would be able to keep doing it, but it's hard to understand with the voice being distorted. I don't know what
I got you. Hold on. Let me see.
happened. Dang.
Let me see.
I'm like, is it me? Is it my phone? Because we were having audio issues earlier.
Right. Nah, I mean, I haven't moved location. I don't know what.
Oh, 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 it sounds better. Okay. So talk
Oh, okay.
forward.
You got it.
Hey, I
Okay.
didn't no, I didn't do nothing.
I don't know, man. This technology stuff is supposed to help us, but sometimes it's try to conflict.
Absolutely. They hating this the devil. They got hate us, hate on us.
Right, exactly. When you're doing good work. So no, I was just asking, like, what kind of what do you do for your own personal professional development to keep feeding yourself and stay empowered as you pour into other people? Because I mean, you're doing work of service, with consulting. So I was just trying to curious because everybody needs that type of routine, and I just want people to know, as far as the people that I serve, it's not just us that I'm saying needs this. I mean, people just like you do these things to feed yourself with knowledge or meditation or anything like that. So I was just curious of what kind of things that you do or books that you read or anything.
Okay, so there's an organization called APPA. It's the American Probation and Parole Association. So they host annual meetings and they host classes. You can go on there yourself. You have to pay to be a member. It's not a lot. It's like a little annual fee. It's real small. But you can take different courses. So that's what I do. And of course, that's APPA. And then of course, I speak with probation and parole officers. Like I said, across the country for the podcast, and they keep me abreast and they keep me informed, and we always bounce ideas off of each other. I'm also there's a Facebook group for probation officers, so we always discuss ways to make things better. How can we help offenders? How can POs help each other do their jobs better? Because it's not only us helping them, we need to help each other as well. I feel like cops, they have this brotherhood, this camaraderie, and everybody knows the brothers in blue and all this stuff. And I'm like, probation officers need that too. Like, we need some support. We gotta support each other. So that's kind of how I do that.
Facts. So that's on a professional level. But what
That's
about
on the professional level.
personally?
Personally, my husband asks me this, like, Brittany, you give to others, like, you got to give to yourself too.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I find that I don't make a lot of time for that.
Mm.
I just find that, I don't know, I need to work on it. You got some tips for me?
Man, I appreciate your honesty on that. I mean, as far as personally recharging, I mean, I like working out and listening to music and things like that. I read, um, just little things like that. Just carving out that you time is especially important. So yeah, I definitely want to encourage you to do that so you can keep doing the work that you're doing and stay jovial like you are.
Well, if
So
you follow my Instagram page, I do like to travel, man. That is a major, major,
that
like, stress
counts.
reliever for me. Like, I'm always on the go. I want to visit every freaking state there is to visit. And before I went through chemotherapy and all that stuff for breast cancer, I'm traveling. I'm outside, okay?
That's good, man. Yeah, get that sun in, get that sun tan and all that. Nah, that's really good. So, you got any questions for me?
I do not know your entire story with being on paper, as they call it, supervision. So, did you have a bad experience or was your experience okay? What made you decide to open up and help others?
Well, my story goes back since when I was a youth. My mother struggled with drug addiction, and there were times where, as I was growing up, she was in and out of jail, and I was working putting money on her books. So having that experience and just the struggles of economic disparities and things like that, not making the best decisions and choices. So I end up being on probation twice in my life, and just having to overcome the lack of character development I had and critical thinking, and decision making. Making poor decisions because it was everything was like emotionally driven. I'm feeling bad. I don't like this. I don't like that, and just letting things escalate to where I would just make the riskiest of decisions. So yeah, so just learning that, and having anger management, which was a mandate on my papers, uh even though I still had this similar spirit, it developed over time. But however, I didn't even know I was angry. I didn't think I was angry, but just through my childhood upbringing and the lack thereof of support at home, and things like that, it just kind of opened me up to experience some things that the streets had to offer. So say so yeah. So
For those two probations, did you finish those successfully?
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
no,
One
that's
was
dope.
2 years and one was 6 years.
Oh, you did
Yeah.
that. Okay. Yeah. That's not easy. It's
No,
not easy.
no, it's not. So in the midst of that, I did have support within my grandmother, and she valued education. So I ended up still going to college and having a degree. I have a degree in chemistry. However, struggling with my background has made it challenging. I'm not gonna say completely difficult, because I developed those critical thinking skills and my character to where I've developed relationships to have opportunities to have a life for myself. So now I'm on the entrepreneur side of things, because working for someone just wasn't lucrative enough for me to live the life that I feel like I deserve after I've served my time and things like that.
Man, listen, even I feel it's hard out here for everybody, even people without a record, but having that, like, that title, what do they call it? Felon? Like,
Hmm.
they make it so freaking hard. They need to do away with that. Like, after a certain time, I feel like that should just come off or something. Like, after you finish your probation or your parole, I need that to come off. Except sex offenders. No, keep that on there.
I
Keep
got
that.
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, they
You
need.
know,
Yep, I got you. No, I totally
okay.
understand. But do you have any knowledge of like clearing records or expungement or anything? Is there anything they share with you all, as far as how that even works? Like,
Oh yeah.
you know how it works. Like being off of probation, like is it I have to wait 5 years and then I can try to do it or something like that?
Yes, in Texas, because every state has their own little rules, their laws. Yeah, Texas is 5 years for felonies.
Hmm.
You have to wait, and you have to get a lawyer to file that paperwork for you for the expungement. You have to pay for it, of course. Everything comes with a fee. But after you get it done, it will be sealed. Only people who will see it, who can still see it, is like law enforcement officials. They can still see your record,
Right.
so that they will always be able to see it.
Well, that's good to know because I have to say, man, that's why I call it a journey, from felon to phenomenal. Because even though I feel like I've accomplished XYZ things, I just got denied for an additional life insurance policy because of my background.
What?
Yeah, yeah. So it's just crazy how long it carries on with us for a
That
long
is
time.
insane. What does that have to do with health?
I couldn't even boost my life insurance policy because they were at my me having the hit on the background. They viewed it as risky behavior, and they don't know how I'm living, so to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So they hit us on all ends, try to push us out. Can't even get the freaking life insurance up. Come on now, that's just crazy.
it
I
is.
didn't know that. You just
Yeah.
told me something new.
Well, I just learned it, and I had to do like an appeal. I mean, I'm tired of appealing. I've been appealing all my life, getting jobs and having to appeal with a background and all that. So, uh, it's just a tough experience. But I know you've heard stories like that.
Oh, most definitely. It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I have family members who've gone through the same thing. Like you were saying, your mom was had these issues with drug abuse. Same thing here. You know what I'm saying? She was on probation. She went to prison. All of that. So yeah, I've heard it. I've seen it. You know,
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's real. It's real.
No, definitely. They say 1 in 3 people are affected by the criminal justice system, whether you have it personally or someone within your family. So it doesn't miss many of us.
That's absolutely not. And that's why I do what I do, because I know there's so many people out here that need help. You know what I'm saying? And don't even have the right questions to ask, or don't know the right questions to ask to even get out. Because some people don't know you can get off probation early, and you could petition the court yourself to get off probation early. Some people don't know about expungement and all these things. Granted, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not trying to give legal advice out here, but it's
Sure.
little things like that that can help people, and they might see, this is not the end of it all. You know what I'm saying? I could better my life after this.
No, that's really good. So yeah, I appreciate your time. I don't have any more questions at this time, but I would ask one last thing if you had anything to share with the audience as far as encouragement or tips, and also let the people know where they can find you, so they can know what they need to do about being on probation. Or if hey, if any of future probation officers follow me, I love y'all too.
Absolutely. So as far as follow me, I am at your favorite PO on Instagram and your favorite PO on Facebook. Same thing, Instagram and Facebook. And then my YouTube channel, I actually changed it to my name, which is Brittany Jackson. But if you type in your favorite PO on YouTube, this face will pop up, y'all. And as far as words of encouragement, for people like felons, you mean like people that are in the system?
Yes.
Don't give up. Like I see so many people that just give up. It's hard as hell, but don't give up. Always ask for help, even if you feel like, oh, they ain't gonna help me. They can't do nothing for me. You never know who can help you. Ask for help. Don't be too proud.
Well,
That's
that
what
sounds
happened.
good. I love that. Hey, that's simple and sweet, and that's the truth. Because if you quit, you know what that looks like. But if you keep going,
Exactly.
yeah, its possibilities are endless. So
Yes.
I ride with
Yes.
that. I ride with that all day, man. Once again, thanks again for reaching out, man. I hope this won't be the last time
It
that.
will not. It will not be. You can't get rid of me that quick.
Hey, it's all good, man. Cause you over there killing on the TikTok, man. I need to get on the reels and stuff, all that. So
Yeah, you do. Let's work. DM me. I'm a DM you. You better get on it.
yes,
Spread
man.
your message. Spread your message.
I hear that, man. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. Till next time, man. What I like to say, let's say, forget society and forgive yourself.
Hey, I like that.
All
I
right.
like
Yeah,
that.
all right. See you.